Hi, everyone. Welcome to Brave New Hollywood. My guest today is filmmaker, graphic novelist, illustrator, very talented guy, Jared Barel, who is here to discuss his newly released indie film called The Incoherents. Hi, Jared.
How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for having me again. A nice little follow-up to our first interview.
Absolutely. That happened on Instagram live a couple of days ago. So let's talk about this interesting film of yours and what you went through making it. What is this movie about?
The simplest way to describe the plot, it's about this middle-aged guy, Bruce Flansburgh. He's a paralegal. He's caught up in the humdrum doldrums of normal middle-aged life. And he can't take it anymore, so he decides that he wants to get his old 90s rock band back together, the Incoherents. So it's sort of his journey to get the band back together and to try and make another shot at glory, I guess.
And how did you decide on actually making this film? When did you know that it's going to happen?
Well, deciding on making it and knowing when it's going to happen is sort of two different things. Back in 2012, Alex Emanuel is a friend of mine for years at that point. He had been in a bunch of my short films, started in a couple of my comic books, which is a totally different story. He had hit me up and said, hey, my friend Jeff and I, we want to make this short film for this weird little rock and roll short comedy thing and to get this movie off the ground. I said, all right, cool, let's do it. So I shot it with them and cut it up. We used my mom's garage. And, it was a fun little thing. It was maybe like $300 budget little short, but it was really funny. It was really enjoyable. The four guys that play the band members were the four guys playing the band members in this scene that we shot. And I remember afterwards, like, all right, finished, another project done, cool, whatever. And I was working on a different film that I was trying to get off the ground. Well, or maybe like 10 different films I was trying to get off the ground. And I said, you know what? That Incoherents came out pretty cool. And I hit up Jeff and I said, why don't you send me over the script? And, I'll take a read of it. And I read it and I fell in love with it. And I hit him up and I said, I'd like to make this. So that was, it was almost 8 years ago. And we nickeled and dimed our way to finishing this thing up and releasing it out to the world this week.
Your cast members are creators themselves. They're musicians, they're screenwriters, they know a thing or two about both music and film. Where do you find all these guys? I know that, the screenplay was written by your lead actor, of course, but how did they all come together? It seems like they're a perfect group of people to have for your film.
Yeah, no, it was, a lot of it was a bit of luck. A handful of our I guess, bigger actors in the piece, like Annette O'Toole and Amy Carlson, Kate Arrington, came from a casting director. So no magic there. But we had a cameo from Jimmy Necco of Ours, who's a longtime friend of mine. I've been directing music videos and working with him for years, longer even than before the Incoherent short. Chris Barron, if I'm not mistaken, Chris went to high school with Jeff. And they didn't really know each other. I don't remember exactly how that came about, but it's sort of an interesting thing when you're doing, especially when you're doing a feature film and a micro budget little feature film on the East Coast, not in Los Angeles. Word gets out and people get excited about it, and it definitely took a village to make this thing.
Be honest. How embarrassed were you?
Not at all.
Bullshit.
What? I swear. Look, no one there knew I was your wife. For all they knew, I was some random cougar out hunting for fresh meat.
If I knocked you up in college, we would have kids as old as that band Sex and High Def.
Oh, there had to be a better way to put that.
Jimmy was right. Nobody cares.
Oh, the poor little lead singer didn't get the standing ovation. It's so sad. Why did you get back into this? What, so people would ask for your autograph?
No.
So why?
To play.
So play. Don't worry about expectations. Just enjoy it. Now come to bed. Your groupie awaits.
Looking at your film, I also noticed New York as a backdrop, or a co-star, I should say. For people who don't shoot in New York, how difficult was it shooting an independently, financed film in New York?
I don't think we had too many issues shooting in New York. New York is, you get lucky. It's a lot different. I was sort of hoping, I'd only moved to Los Angeles a couple months before we started filming in New York. So when I moved to Los Angeles, I was hoping, oh, this is great. This is where the movies are made. I can run outside with my camera and shoot anything I want. That is absolutely not the case. I've gotten thrown out of way too many shoots and things that I was trying to do. And then, the permits are super expensive and whatever else. In New York, especially, and in New Jersey, because a lot of the film was shot there too. Nobody really cares. There's a lot more important things going on, so nobody's really bothered with you. Plus, we were really fortunate. I mean, we didn't do a lot of, there's not a lot of external scenes in the city, so, we didn't have to worry about putting a crane down in the middle of Times Square.
What would you say was the hardest challenge in making this film?
I mean, one of the biggest challenges with this film that I think a lot of films don't necessarily have is that we at no point had like our budget and then went to shoot. We had a little bit of money and went to go shoot. And then we'd go back and try and raise a little bit more money and then go back to shoot. So it was like 4 or 5 different sessions of flying back and forth. I remember it was the first year that I moved to LA. We got a little bit of money to go shoot. I flew back and forth 11 times that year.
Wow.
From LA to New York for the film mostly and whatever else. But yeah, so that's, keeping consistency, keeping cast, keeping locations, keeping that kind of stuff. That becomes a challenge. It's you can't look at the footage in between and say like, oh, let's go back to this location. That location doesn't exist anymore. And in fact, not that we actually need to go back to this one, but like the recording studio where some of the shows also take place, I mean, that place literally doesn't exist anymore. And It didn't exist shortly after we finished shooting there. So, when you're extending your shoot over like 6 months, that's a challenge. So it was kind of amazing that everybody stuck with it. I mean, we even have some extras that became groupies that followed to all the different shows in the span of over a few months. They would come back and keep being in the film. And like that never happens. So, I keep saying it takes a village to make this thing, and our village stuck it out. So thank you.
Well, we definitely enjoyed the film. We'd like everyone to see The Incoherents, which is now available on VOD, iTunes, everywhere. I wanted to thank Jared, our guest filmmaker, for this Q&A, and wishing you the best of luck, and hope to see you on Brave New Hollywood again.